All the predictions are converging. We are already being prepared for the real 3 days of darkness. This will happen this year. This contract is ending, and 80% of people will simply move into the astral and won't be able to reincarnate. But here we are given direct instructions. In the original prophecy itself, it says there will be a total blackout in Spain and Portugal and a power outage in Bali. We are already being prepared for the real 3 days of darkness. Many people don't understand why this is happening, and to many it seems like just a coincidence that so many strange, unusual events are happening one after another. At the same time, regarding Spain, I couldn't find a single logical explanation for why this happened. They say it's a rare natural anomaly. All of this is a symptom of the so-called quantum transition. Many people dismiss it. They don't believe that the quantum transition is real because they measure everything by the standards of the material world. The quantum transition is not material. It happens on the level of energy. Nevertheless, these changes are already hard to ignore. And so, the 3 days of darkness will become the culmination of the transition, when it will truly be dark for 3 days. But that's not the main point. The main thing is that the poles will shift, and the Earth's energy will change forever. And after that, humanity will never be the same. Changes will occur that no one will be able to ignore anymore, regardless of whether people believe in it or not. In fact, we've been prepared for this for a long time. After all, there's a reason for that old, very Christian prophecy about the 3 days of darkness. It was a warning, but what's interesting is that there are similar references in other cultures as well. For example, Bali. Every year, Bali prepares for the 3 days of darkness. They have the Nyepi New Year, when they spend 1 day in darkness and silence, meditating. I believe this is a form of preparation. On the second day, they burn huge statues of spirits. And on the third day, they do something else, like going to the water. It's a specific ritual that helps the population prepare, so for them it's already normal to spend 1 day sitting and meditating. And I think that they will be more prepared than anyone else. And indeed, these 3 days are connected with spirits. Something very important will happen on a subtle level, which I will talk about a bit later.
What might happen to people during these 3 days of darkness?
Very different things will happen to different people. First of all, I've been receiving this information for a long time, and I haven't mentioned it in any interview yet. I'll say this for the first time. The reason I started my project, which is dedicated to unlocking and developing superhuman abilities. Because back in 2022, the teachers I communicate with on the subtle plane, with whom I do channeling, insisted very strongly that I do this. I was asked to start gathering people with superhuman abilities, unusual people, esoteric practitioners, and to help them cleanse themselves of negative karma. And later I was given an explanation as to why this needed to be done. At first I didn't really understand it, I was just doing it. I was told that a certain portal would be opened, and all extraterrestrial souls, all souls that do not belong to this earth, everyone who came from other civilizations to help humanity, the earthlings, their contract is ending, and these souls will be taken back home to where they belong, to the star systems from which they came. And this is one part of what will happen, and I associate this event with the 3 days of darkness. Why are there solar flares now? Why is there so much energy coming in? A great deal of energy is needed to create a portal through which these souls can be taken. I think this is actually good news for all extraterrestrials, for everyone who longs for home, for all those who feel like outsiders on this earth, those whom no one understands. As for earthlings, the souls that belong to the earth, who did not come from other worlds, there will also be a certain selection for them. This selection will depend on the vibrations, on the emotions that each soul resonates with. You may have already heard, many people talk about this, the Schumann resonance, that the Earth's frequency is changing, and those souls who vibrate, for example, at the frequency of fear, those who vibrate with aggression, anger, guilt, and other toxic emotions, they may not be able to withstand the 3 days of darkness because a lot of fear and aggression will surface for them and various things can happen, including looting. And these people most likely will not be able to withstand it. They will not be able to live in the new world after the 3 days of darkness. But those souls who already vibrate at higher frequencies, those who are conscious, for them a new era will begin. Supernatural abilities will be unlocked, people will develop clairvoyance and telepathy, everyone will have awakened superhuman abilities.
How soon should we expect this? Will there be more blackouts in other countries as part of the preparation?
There will be more blackouts, more climate anomalies, earthquakes, and further warnings. It won't happen all of a sudden. People will be given a chance to prepare, to get themselves mentally ready. And of course, it's important to start preparing now so that it doesn't come as a shock.
So how should one even approach this? Let's say I found out that I'm a soul from another planet. Does that mean they'll just take away 100% from me?
Those souls from other planets ask me to work with them for a reason, because unfortunately, many star souls who came here, especially those who arrived a long time ago, have accumulated a lot of negative karma. For about 1,000 years, there has been what you might call a witch hunt on Earth. It started, well, about 1,000 years ago, give or take, depending on the country. For example, in Asia, it began around the 6th century, while in Europe, it started roughly between the 11th and 13th centuries. The witch hunt, and it continues to this day. And so in these situations, just imagine star souls like us. We came to help, we brought our knowledge, our abilities, our talents. We are healers, we are seers, we are those who can channel energies from the subtle planes, who can bring love from the subtle realms that does not exist on Earth. And life after life, people like us are burned, drowned, arrested. Of course, we also experience a lot of negative emotions. These emotions accumulate as well. So right now, it is very important for such star souls to completely cleanse themselves of earthly karma, because it will make the transition more difficult. In other words, it will be very hard to ascend. Most star souls have come from dimensions of very high vibrations, and these accumulated emotions here, we don't need them, we must let them go. And that's basically what I do. That's what I do. Quantum unblocking, cleansing all blocks, karma that has accumulated over millennia. This preparation by extraterrestrials separately for people is also very important to practice in general. That is, at the very least, to learn to meditate in such a way that you're not afraid to be left in the dark, alone, without the internet, without light. Most people can't handle this because there's such chaos inside them. And when they are left one-on-one with their own chaos, they get very scared. And it's this chaos that needs to be gotten rid of. In other words, you need to find such silence within yourself that even in the dark, you won't be afraid. And it's very important, of course, to get rid of fears, because fear is the heaviest, lowest vibrational emotion. Those who are mindful will make it through and live in a wonderful world. That's how I see it.
So is this like a point of no return, a reset point? Is that really what it looks like overall?
That's exactly what it looks like. It's like there's this buildup, this intensifying, growing and growing. There are constant flashes, things keep happening, and it's getting harder and harder to ignore more and more often. And there will be this one point of no return. But from what I feel, it will happen this year. The date keeps changing because the future isn't set in stone. It depends on how people react, on what happens, on how people work on themselves, and, by the way, on how the guides work. A lot of people write in the comments about how many of you there are now. Think about it. Why have so many guides appeared now? Because everyone is receiving the same information. That is, all high vibration souls, all guides, extraterrestrial souls. They're all being given the same message, that a quantum transition is coming, that you will be taken, that you will disappear from this reality. Many people think that disappearing is scary, while many others actually wouldn't mind disappearing from this reality and ending up in their own reality.
So for them, is this like an ascension?
It turns out that it's like an ascension, but it's more like returning home. In other words, it's not that they're going to some new place, but rather to a place they haven't been in a long time.
It's not for nothing that it's called darkness, not just because the lights are turned off. So what will happen to the darkness during these 3 days? So these 3 days of light are associated with good, and the 3 days of darkness seem to be associated with evil.
Yes, indeed, darkness is directly related here. First of all, many people talk about this, and I agree as well, that the earth is under the control of the dark, of darkness. The dark ones feed on people's negative emotions. Why has there been this struggle for 1,000 years now, for example, against esoteric practitioners, against people, let's say, who came here to help others, who do nothing bad at all, but are always helping, healing, giving advice, and providing important information? Because as I understand it, it was around this time that this planet was taken over by the Dark Ones. And the Dark Ones like it when there are a lot of negative emotions, when there are wars, when there is fear, and 3 days of darkness. On the one hand, this is a side effect of the transition, but on the other hand, it's also a good opportunity for the Dark Ones, because many people will panic, many will be afraid, and for many their deep-seated traumas and fears, which have been with them since childhood, will resurface. And for them, of course, this is a very good time. Let's put it this way. It's a feast, a huge amount of negative emotions, a huge amount of energy. At such moments, they can feed off people, they can consume these energies, and of course, those who are in fear can become victims of the darkness. And the darkness can connect to them, can control them, can frighten them even more, send nightmares. So as soon as you let the darkness in, it will spread.
And what will happen to it after the souls are taken away? Then only earthly souls and a super-empowered darkness will remain here.
But it will depend on people, on what they do, how they handle it, what choices they make. After all, every person makes a choice every second whether to feed the light or the darkness, which direction they will move in.
So it turns out to be a kind of judgment day.
Yes.
It just so happens that everything is coming together this way.
It turns out that everything is coming together. All the predictions converge on the idea that everyone will make their own choice, what they want, how they choose.
So if you choose to do absolutely nothing, what truly bad things could potentially happen? That is to say, a soul from outer space won't be able to properly leave and will inevitably get stuck here on Earth. A soul from Earth. What will happen to it? Will it be split apart or what?
All right, let's separate them. If an extraterrestrial soul, due to its vibrations, cannot pass through the portal and return home, then it's clear that this soul will remain on Earth forever. That's the worst thing that could happen to it. As for those who stay on Earth, since the Earth is changing its vibrations, so as I see it, why are extraterrestrial souls being taken away? This means that, let's say, more highly developed civilizations believe that Earthlings are now ready for independence, and they assess that overall the level of development is high enough and sufficient for them to handle things on their own and make their own choices. Accordingly, as the vibrations rise, some people will remain on Earth, while some will simply transition to the astral plane, and they won't be able to incarnate because the frequency of their soul won't be sufficient to withstand the Earth's vibration. And most likely these souls will just get stuck in the astral for a very long time.
We can now list all of the souls that are currently at risk.
At risk are all materialists, all those who completely deny the spiritual, all those who believe that only the material and scientific exist. It will be very hard for them. It will be very hard for them during the 3 days of darkness, and it will be even harder afterwards. Because the world will be changing and remaining. It will be very, very difficult for materialists. They will experience a lot of inner conflict, a lot of aggression. The second group who won't be able to withstand it are energy vampires. These people, let's say, no longer have their own energy on Earth, so they are forced to steal other people's energy through various manipulations. These can be rather powerful vampires, such as reptiloids, by the way, as well as minor everyday vampires. Your relative who is constantly complaining, playing on your sympathy, and stealing your energy. Or people who are always going around writing complaints. So these kinds of parasites, I would say, also won't be able to withstand it. If things are already hard for them now, then after the transition to the new vibrations, they won't be able to survive. They will leave. Aggressive, angry people who are always looking for an outlet for their aggression. It will be very difficult to survive in the new world because people's abilities will be awakened and everything will be so visible, so obvious. Manipulators won't be able to handle it either because they are essentially toxic as well. And in the new world, it will be very hard to manipulate because people will be able to see and understand much more. Telepathy will develop, as will the ability to read others and clairvoyance. And people who are disconnected from nature will also leave. That is, all those who have shut themselves away in their rooms behind a computer, the so-called digital zombies. Those who are afraid of nature, who hate nature, all the people who are afraid to go out into the forest, to the beach, where it seems like there are spiders and snakes everywhere, where there is water and air. Right now, in fact, people have accumulated a lot of fears when it comes to nature. According to statistics, 80% of people have at least one phobia related to nature or animals, insects, or to water, air, or heights. In other words, some kind of phobia. It will also be difficult for these people. And I advise you to get rid of such phobias in a timely manner right now, because in the new world there will be more contact with nature. People will move away from these large megacities and live in closer connection with nature.
Darkness will still undoubtedly try to find a way. How exactly will they attempt to stop us before we manage to reach this crucial point in our journey?
By intimidation? Definitely by intimidation. The Dark Ones always act through fear. They intimidate. Now, with very convenient mass media, people can be intimidated endlessly, divided, all these wars saying these are bad, those are good, these ones did something in history, someone was wronged, constantly dividing. Aggression against certain groups, against some minorities, and endless fears. Fears of disasters, fears of wars, fears of artificial intelligence that machines will enslave you. There are also a large number of reptilian souls on the planet now whose energy works differently. They have no connection to the earth, so essentially they are vampires. They feed on the energy of people. Among them will be the false prophets. False teachers will also create their very own cults in order to feed upon the spiritual energy of their, so to speak, devoted followers. We will see a lot more of this. And here too, I can only say one thing: develop your connection with intuition, trust yourself, because as this intensifies more and more, it may reach a point where almost no reliable information remains at all. And then all that's left is to trust. Just act according to what your intuition tells you.
There will be utter chaos created so that at the point of the 3 days of darkness, people are as lost as possible.
Yes, so that they are lost and afraid of everyone, afraid of each other, isolated from one another, because light is always about unity. On the level of light, everything is truly one, but in darkness, everyone is divided, everyone is an enemy to each other, everyone is dangerous.
Do all these intriguing stories about salt and candles and certain inherent attributes and even charged objects like protective bracelets, do they truly and genuinely exist? Do these things actually help? Is it worth reinforcing yourself with these attributes at this point?
Salt and various objects, it truly depends on who has actually charged them. What definitely and profoundly helps is having, let's say, your own deep and personal connection with your beloved loved ones, including those on subtle ethereal planes of existence. For example, I consistently teach my dedicated students to connect deeply with their spiritual guides and also with their spiritual lineage, which is a profound and ancient connection. And this is more likely to help than salt and candles.
And you've meticulously prepared a truly wonderful gift, which actually includes, 3 full days of dedicated work?
Yes, but I can also lead a protective practice for everyone today.
That would be really great.
Yes, maybe we'll finish today with the practice.
How can I understand what karmic chains I have? Like, is there something, I don't know, am I a bad person or where should I look?
It's easier to explain not in terms of duality, good or bad, but in terms of vibrations. That is, every person can vibrate at different frequencies. For example, when a person is in fear, they vibrate at one frequency. When they become more aware, move into love, acceptance, and harmony, they raise their vibrations. And this can actually happen quite quickly. And regarding how to prepare, well, let's do a little test to see how ready you are for the quantum transition and its culmination, the 3 days of darkness. I personally believe that the people who are best prepared are those who have a good connection with themselves. A good connection with yourself is, first and foremost, intuition. Yes, intuitive abilities. Because intuitive abilities are our connection to our higher realms, our access to the superconscious, to our true self, to our divine essence. So let's do a little test. Who is most in touch with their true self? Who trusts their intuition the most? In other words, these are the people who are already receiving signs, who are ready, who are on the path toward this transition. And I'll name the first sign, repeating numbers on the clock. Those of you who see repeating numbers on the clock, like 1111 or 1212, or maybe mirrored numbers, you're already being sent signs. These signs are sent by your guardian angels, your spiritual guides. They are giving you signs that you are already being guided. Those who notice synchronicities, various déjà vu moments, or some strange coincidences, this is also a sign. Or, for example, you ask a question and then see a phrase written somewhere, or someone says something to you that turns out to be the answer. This already shows that your perception is changing and that you are already in the process of transition. The third sign is, for example, when you start experiencing telepathy. For instance, someone calls you and before you even look, you already know who it is. Or someone comes to see you and you already know who it is. In other words, you are beginning to develop multidimensional perception beyond the material world. What other signs might there be? For example, you start to develop sensitivity in your body, you begin to feel energies, you start to sense vibrations. Many people may even experience painful sensations, like headaches, for instance, triggered by energy surges. But this is also an indication that your bodily sensitivity to energies is increasing. And the fifth sign is for those who wake up, especially between 3 and 4 in the morning. This is the so-called witching hour. You also awaken and are in the process of transition, so you are already, in a way, preparing yourself without even realizing it for this interesting phenomenon.
By the way, how many types of souls are there here? And where does each come from? Is it possible to somehow identify them?
Yes, I'm not really that strong when it comes to the names, specifically who is from where, at least for now. This information has only started to reveal itself to me recently, but essentially I understand these signs very well. How do I understand this? How did I figure it out? How did I investigate it? It's through channeling that I learned that originally, when humanity was just taking its first steps, a rather large number of extraterrestrial souls came here. And often the pantheons of ancient gods are in fact extraterrestrial. I know for sure that, for example, the gods of Egypt are an extraterrestrial civilization because I am in close contact with them. They are some of those whom I channel regularly. I also know that, for example, the Norse gods, Odin, that whole pantheon, are also extraterrestrial. Most likely, many other pantheons are extraterrestrial as well, for example, the Indian gods, and possibly the Greek ones too. And they were originally in contact with the souls who came from their civilization. And these souls were priests back then, in ancient times. And these, of course, are people. First and foremost, they are people, well, they are esotericists, people with extraordinary abilities, people who are capable of channeling, clairvoyance, telepathy, who have abilities beyond the ordinary. That's the first sign. Magic, ancient knowledge that originally existed in ancient Egypt, all of that came from there. Then, for about the first 1,000 years, everything was very good. All these souls were highly respected, many were revered as priests and as gods, and many had their own temples. And so, when the coup happened, when the Dark Ones came and seized power, everything was turned upside down. They said these were all witches, that they harmed people, and so on. This continues to this day, to some extent. And so I would say, most likely that extraterrestrial souls are those people who are esotericists. If we talk about specific signs, for example, mainly such people feel like strangers on this earth. There is a feeling that no one understands you, that you are always like a black sheep, that you are somehow different, maybe there's something wrong with you, that you're abnormal. And that's more or less how you felt since childhood. The second sign is this feeling, a very subtle feeling of loneliness. No matter how much you interact with people, no matter how many people are around you, you still feel lonely, as if your home is somewhere far away. That is, such souls often gaze at the starry sky. Many love to look at the sky, at the stars. And there is this very light, elusive longing for that lost home. Very often, such souls cannot accept ordinary people, especially when it comes to their lower qualities, like aggression. And sometimes you even feel ashamed of people. It's just impossible to understand how can they be like that. And there is this feeling as if somehow you are to blame for it. And in this, by the way, there is an explanation because we actually came here to help, but it turns out we didn't quite succeed, of course. It's all relative, but such a feeling of guilt can be present. What else? Many such souls have a strong fear of people, a fear of crowds, and a strong fear of showing their abilities. This happens because of the accumulated negative experiences of all those killings and burnings. And of course, many are afraid to show themselves. And many have accumulated so much karma that they don't even remember their true nature anymore. It's quite difficult to draw it out of them. So it's something fleeting. And people like this usually try to seem normal. They try not to stand out. They try to appear like ordinary people. But when they hear such words, maybe they resonate with you. This will be the fifth sign that you are such a soul. For those who notice unusual abilities in themselves or want to dive deeper into this topic, welcome to my channel. There, it's all about superpowers, the unusual, the mystical, and the interesting.
The link is below the video. Be sure to check it out. What should you do during these 3 days? Is it okay to go outside? Do you need to light candles and sprinkle salt around the bed? I don't know. Should I go to the forest or somewhere else?
Here we are given direct instructions. In the original prophecy itself, it says that you should stay at home and not go outside. It is said that supposedly there will be some kind of poisonous gas out there. I don't know about the gas, but we can look at another instruction. For example, Bali as well. For instance, during Nyepi, I know that on the first day, all the locals stay at home, don't turn on the lights, don't light candles, and close all the windows because they say that something will fly over the island. Evil spirits. And this is also a direct instruction as to why you shouldn't go outside. And they do this every year. Even the airport, by the way, is closed. I recommend staying at home on this day, meditating, spending time alone with yourself, by no means being afraid, enjoying the silence, the peace, connecting with yourself, with your essence, and waiting for it to be over, so that you can then go outside calmly. I think it might also be unsafe because many people can behave inappropriately. Many people under the influence of fear can fall under the sway of darkness and act aggressively, for example. I believe that first and foremost it is unsafe, and that is exactly why such instructions were given.
By the way, this won't just shut off for no reason. Something physical must also happen. And maybe the magnetic field will drop so much that it could overload half of people's brains.
I looked at different probabilities. The highest probability is that it will be a very powerful solar flare. Solar flares happen constantly in cycles. They're becoming more and more frequent and increasingly intense. So what exactly are solar flares? They're massive bursts of energy that affect the Earth. And if there's a flare that's much more powerful than all the previous ones, all electricity will go out of order and everything will shut down under the impact of this powerful flare. What else does this mean? So what is a flare exactly? It means a large amount of energy is released all at once. What does that mean? For example, for someone like me who knows how to work with energy, that's a good thing. I receive this energy, I use it in my practices, I use it for healing, both for myself and for other people, for unlocking abilities, both my own and those of others. As for people who are in low vibrational emotions, what can happen? These emotions can intensify. So if it's fear, it can escalate to a panic attack. What is a panic attack? It's an extreme form of fear when it manifests physically, when it's out of control. Those who are in a state of aggression, it will also escalate to such a frenzy, to such abnormality. Those who are in depression, meaning it's even worse, it will intensify to the point of not wanting to live. And when people say that those with low vibrations won't be able to live on Earth, it's not that they'll disappear instantly, but their emotional and physical state will be such that they truly won't be able to live. They'll either perish in a fit of aggression, in some kind of fights, or they'll leave this life. To be continued, for example, those who have depressive states, or they will get sick because emotions affect the physical body, inevitable. And this will most likely not happen in a single second, but it will happen. Just like now, there are already many. This is what's happening. That is, it seems to be happening slowly. People get used to it, they think it's normal. Well, so what? There are northern lights going on. In the southern hemisphere, it's called aurora australis. Well, so what if it snowed in May? So what? There's an earthquake every day, the power goes out as if everything is normal. But in reality, it's not. If you remember what it was like 20 years ago, none of this was happening. And back then it was normal that none of this existed. But now, this is the new normal. In the same way, after the 3 days of darkness, some people will think everything is fine, but in reality, everything will be changing very quickly. Some will leave this earth unable to go on living. Others, on the contrary, will discover new abilities, and some will be taken to their own worlds. And it may all seem ordinary, but it will be happening nonetheless.
For example, when I was watching the news about those solar flares or whatever, and there was the northern lights over Russia, and on the news they were like, oh, look how beautiful it is over Moscow. But come on, this is something enormous. This isn't just happening for no reason. It's either that the ozone layer has melted, or there's some kind of chemical over the city, or something else entirely.
Because people don't want to admit it, it's more comfortable for them. People aren't ready to acknowledge that something is happening. It's easier for them to persist, to keep saying that everything is fine, that it's all scientific, that everything can be explained scientifically. And skeptics will keep denying it. Materialists will continue to reject it, while those who actually listen to what's being said, it's not for nothing that all the conduits are talking about this, will understand. So that people will hear, so that they will think about it, so that they will stop denying it, that energies exist, that there is a subtle plane, there are spirits, there are forces of light and darkness, there are other civilizations. Recently, by the way, it seems the US declassified information that there are several alien bases on Earth. I saw those copies of the documents, they were posted online. Well, I got the sense that it's true. In other words, it didn't make me think it was nonsense. A fake, I asked.
Well, it's probably unofficial, or maybe even...
No, it's official Trump. He's the one who started declassifying things now.
Oh, it was him directly. Yes. Well, we need to go. Where did he go again? Let's meet him. Last year, many experts I interviewed, some on camera, some off, also said that this would come to light, right? This year it should, even some... We should see it.
It's already starting to show, you could say. They've already admitted that it exists. But I don't feel like it will happen exactly this year. It has to be a very conscious contact. And when, let's say, the government acknowledges that such contacts exist, and when it becomes open to the public, I looked into it, and what I get is that this will happen by around 2030, a conscious, official contact.
It will be. So will it be just like they show us a photo or a video, or will there actually be some kind of interaction?
There will be some kind of interaction. It will be officially announced. But it turns out that one stage has ended, as I understand it. So I was trying to find out why they take people. So there was some kind of cycle, as I was told. This cycle lasted 13,000 years, and this cycle has ended. The contract is over. But maybe it's some kind of coaching, like they sent coaches here, and they coached and coached as best they could, did what they could. So now they finished the contract and are leaving. And now some new stage is beginning, perhaps. In this stage, I am quite certain that it will be an open contact. They won't just send some souls anymore. They will openly initiate a conscious, intelligent contact.
And in order to stay informed about everything that's happening and to really understand what's going on in the world, friends, let me remind you about the Telegram channel where, in addition to superpowers, you'll also find news and energy practices. And in general, all announcements about retreats, live streams, and all events are posted there. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. What else can we do before reaching that point besides cleansing our karma?
Well, there are 3 aspects that I want to highlight. The first aspect is that it's most important to stay safe. Right now, so much is happening in the world, and it's impossible to logically protect yourself from every danger. Wars are breaking out, first in one place, then another. There are natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, tsunamis, fires, and there will be many more. The only thing we can do to stay safe is to maintain contact with our intuition. Because without intuition, it will be difficult, and those people who have well-developed intuition will be the ones who are safe. For example, speaking from my own experience, we lived in Turkey and we had a great house by the sea. Everything was well set up on the Mediterranean. And then I get the idea that we need to move to Australia. And this idea becomes more and more persistent. It becomes so insistent that I tell my family, that's it, we're packing up, we're going to Australia. Even though it was counter-logical, there was no reason to leave, we had a comfortable home, we could have kept living there. But I make this decision and we move. And in Turkey, earthquakes start happening, unrest begins, and it's almost like a revolution is breaking out. And these disturbances have continued ever since the moment we flew out, and they keep escalating. So when you listen to your intuition and feel connected to your true self, you always receive signs. If you don't ignore them, you can move yourself and your family to a safe place. That's on a global scale, like relocating. But it also applies locally. For example, whether to go somewhere or not, whether to get into this car or not, whether to take this flight or not, whether to go to the shopping mall. Or maybe, for instance, there might be a fire and everyone should just stay home and wait it out. And things like this should happen every day. That is, before you do anything, you should intuitively sense whether you should do it or not. That's what concerns safety. Secondly, what you need, and I highly recommend this to everyone, there is a very reliable way to quickly raise your vibrations. Connect with your purpose. People want to discover it, to understand it. In reality, you can't really discover or understand it. You can only connect with it because our purpose is like our core, it's our essence. And so once you've connected with your purpose, once you've set out on that path, it doesn't even matter how well you do it or not. What matters is that you're doing it and that you found that connection. This is the second thing I recommend to everyone in 2025. And third, of course, to everyone who, like me, is a guide. To everyone who has abilities, to everyone who has strength, I still recommend helping people and channeling this knowledge from higher realms, channeling these energies, helping people and the planet. And specifically this year, I have prepared a new marathon. It consists of 3 days. On the first day, we focus on how to unlock channeling, how to learn channeling, and how to use it to protect yourself and your loved ones. On the second day, I provide instructions and practices on how to connect with your purpose. The practices I offer each day are very powerful. And on the third day, I share the 7 keys of a recognized esotericist, how to become a powerful conduit, gain recognition, and attract your own students and clients. I invite everyone to join via the link below this video and watch all 3 days. I share a lot of interesting information there, conduct unique diagnostics, and offer exclusive practices. It is absolutely free for all participants.
Thank you for the gift. And friends, don't forget to subscribe to the Telegram channel as well. Well, it's time for the practice we've all been waiting for. The whole episode.
Yes. Great. I ask everyone watching this video to put aside whatever you're doing. I absolutely need at least 7 full minutes of your focused attention, please. I need you to sit down, or you can even lie down. Get into a very comfortable position. Please focus on your breathing. We're going to take a deep breath in and out. Imagine that I am creating a cloud of white light. All of you are immersing yourselves in this cloud. And as you inhale, you will fill yourself with light. And as you exhale, you will breathe out all the tension. As you inhale, you will fill yourself with light. And as you exhale, you will breathe out all unnecessary thoughts. On the inhale, you will fill yourself with light. On the exhale, you will breathe out all the heaviness. With every breath in and out, your body will relax more and more. And you will truly enter my immersive flow and my powerful vortex. I am connecting on the level of our true selves with everyone who is watching this video beyond time and space. And now I want to dissolve all fears. Everything related to the program, the world is dangerous. All fears associated with the 3 days of darkness, with the profound last judgment, with significant transition, with momentous changes and the unfolding of new eras. All of these lingering fears will completely dissolve and dissipate within the powerful flow of my boundless energy. I want you to feel right now and sense what it feels like to live without fear. White light envelops you, creating a strong energetic cocoon. Imagine that the very dense energy is concentrated all around you, completely enveloping your being. And within this energy, you feel absolutely safe. Say to yourself out loud or silently, I am safe. I and my life are completely safe. And no matter what happens, whether there is light or darkness, I will remain connected to my soul and to my soul. And now I want you to gently reach upward and truly feel this profound connection with the higher spiritual planes. I truly want you to deeply feel this profound connection with your benevolent guardian angels, your wise spiritual guides, and your ancient spiritual lineage. Feel that you are surrounded by invisible yet very familiar beings. And I am restoring your contact with them right now. And this connection will help you greatly when it becomes a point of no return. Your beloved loved ones from the subtle realms will gently guide you safely through this significant transition. And you will move forward without fear. It will be easy and peaceful for you. And now I want to activate your connection with your intuition, with your true self. Those of you who are sensitive will feel vibrations in the center of your head and at the back of your neck. This is your perception of the subtle realms awakening. And from this moment on, with every new minute, hour, week, and month, this perception will become more and more distinct. You will feel your intuition more and more clearly, your connection with the subtle realms, with your guides, with your guardian angels. You will receive signs and hints, and these signs will be clear to you. And now I will bring you back to the here and now. You will return renewed, transformed, full of energy and strength, completely calm. I will count from 1 to 5, and on the count of 4, you will open your eyes. On the count of 5, you will take a breath in and out, and open your eyes, and fully wake up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, open your eyes. 5, take a deep breath in and out. You are now fully awake. Congratulations on completing the practice. You can share your impressions in the comments. Write to me, I'm very interested. If you want to do more practices like this, subscribe to my Telegram channel.
And don't forget, dear ones, about the gift that Natalia has also prepared. As for the practice, now from this state, what effect should there be and how long should it last?
Well, it depends on the circumstances that the person encounters. So, I created a state of calm. How much will a person get involved with external irritants? How much will they get scared by the news? What will happen? But the good news is you can always redo the practice, watch it again, and return to a calm state. Managing your own state will be the key to a successful transition.
I thank you for today's broadcast, for this episode. Thank you, friends. Follow the links under this video. Be sure to subscribe to the Telegram channel and claim your gift. Don't forget,